is going to look at creating a path for an object to follow around. Okay, so when we looked at the motion tween, you move it first and then you edit the path afterwards. In this case, we can create a very specific path that we want our object to follow. So on the first frame there, in layer 1, let's create the standard. Let's create a little circle. So oval tool, hold your shift and make a circle towards the top in the middle of your stage, roughly like that. Okay, let's go straight in and convert that to a symbol. So modify, convert to symbol. Okay. Done. Okay. Now what we want to do is create a path for that to follow. So imagine if you wanted to create it to follow around a perfect circle and go round and round. That would be very difficult to make a perfect circle with that motion tween. So if we right click this time over the layer itself, not the timeline, over the layer heading, right click, we get a different little set of menus, and we're going to go to this add a classic motion guide. And you see it attaches a little layer above it, so a guide layer directly above it. Those two layers are connected, and you can tell they're connected because that layer 1 has been indented inside, so it's attached to it. So we're going to go now to our oval tool. What I want though is just to draw a stroke this time. So if we select little thumbnail, the black and white thumbnail, or hit D, and then select the white solid fill color, and let's use the little red diagonal line to turn that off, and now just have a black stroke. Now I'm going to draw a big circle, hold my shift on that guide layer. Okay, which is roughly central. So that's going to be the guide that my red circle is going to follow. So I'm going to do that over 60 frames. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to put in some blank frames. And blank frames, the shortcut is F5, or it's insert timeline, okay, frame, okay, just so we can see what our timeline is. All right. And then in that bottom layer, not the top layer, so not in the guide layer, it's the object's going to move in the bottom layer. I'm going to right click and we're going to add our classic tween. You can only do a classic tween with a guide layer. Then go into my selection tool. You will notice that every time I move my object near to that guideline, it snaps onto it in that center point. So now I'm going to move to frame 20. I'm going to move my ball, my red circle, to about a third of the way down. Then I'm going to move to frame 40, and I'm going to move it to the other side. And again, make sure it snaps onto that guide. You can feel it kind of pull on. And then as we want this to be a perfect looping circle, we're going to go back to frame 1, copy that keyframe, so copy frame, go into frame 60, I'm going to paste that frame in so we know that it begins exactly where it ended. And if we hit return, it now follows that path. And if I do a command return to export it, you see it just goes round and round and round. No obvious beginning or end. You can create any shape you want. You can just draw a line. We'll do another tutorial in a moment, okay, on a guide layer, and it will follow that line for you. So that's how to create your own guide layer and attach an object to it.